Welcome back, everybody.
Oh,
We are diving deep today
okay.
into becoming a trusted advisor,
Yeah.
but this time
Mm-hmm.
specifically for compliance officers.
Right.
So if you are in the compliance world,
Okay.
stick around
Okay.
because this one's for you.
Right.
We are going to be looking at the new Compliance Officer Playbook,
Okay.
which actually has a whole section
Oh, cool.
dedicated to becoming a trusted advisor.
Mm.
It has some really cool strategies
Yes.
that I think are really applicable to
Right on.
anybody, but
Yeah.
especially,
Right.
folks in compliance.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I find fascinating
Mm-hmm.
about this whole topic
Right.
is that it really challenges
Yeah.
the traditional view
Oh, yeah.
of what a compliance officer does.
Okay.
Right?
Mm.
Like when we think about
Mm.
compliance,
Mm-hmm.
we think
Mm-hmm.
rules,
Right. Yeah.
enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
but here we're talking about becoming a strategic partner,
Interesting.
a trusted advisor,
Okay.
someone who can really help shape
Mm-hmm.
the direction of an organization.
Yeah.
It's like flipping the script.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to be the person that everyone avoids in the
Yeah.
hallway.
That's the worst.
Right.
You don't want to be the.
You don't want to be the compliance cop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to be someone that people actually want to come and talk to,
That's a good point.
that they see as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how do we make that happen?
So how do we actually make that happen?
Yeah.
How do we become that?
How do we make that transition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question.
And the playbook starts
Okay.
by really emphasizing
Yeah.
the importance of building trust,
Okay.
which, might seem obvious,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I think it's often overlooked
That's true.
in the compliance world.
Especially in compliance.
Right,
Yeah.
because we're so focused on the rule.
Yeah. You're so focused on
And the regs,
the black and white.
it's easy to forget about the human element.
Yeah. The human side of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But think about it.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't trust you,
Right.
they're not going to come to you
Yeah. They're not going to come to you for advice.
for advice.
If they don't trust you.
They're not going to be open about potential risks.
They're going to hide things from you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that just creates
Yeah. That just creates blind spots.
the huge blind spot
Mm-hmm.
for the organization.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's where this idea
Okay.
of a trusted advisor comes
A
in.
trusted advisor.
But what does that actually look like
Mm-hmm.
in the world of compliance?
Yeah. What does that actually look like?
Like how do we
How do we define that?
define that?
Yeah.
And the playbook actually breaks it down
Okay.
into 4 key elements, which I thought was really interesting. So we've got credibility,
Okay.
reliability,
Mm-hmm.
empathy,
Okay.
and integrity.
Interesting.
And it says
Mm-hmm.
that these are really the cornerstones of trust
Okay.
that make all the difference.
All right.
Okay. So let's unpack those a little bit.
Yeah. Let's break those down.
Let's start with credibility.
Okay.
I mean, we all want to be seen as credible,
Of course. Yeah.
but how does that translate
Yeah. How does that translate?
for a compliance officer?
No, our compliance officer.
What does that look like
Yeah. What does that mean in our world?
in our world?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that
Mhm.
it's not just about knowing the rules.
Okay.
It's about understanding
Mhm.
the nuances
Yeah.
of how those rules apply
Okay.
in real world situations.
Interesting.
The playbook actually highlights this really interesting case study
Okay.
where a compliance officer's
Mhm.
deep knowledge
Uh.
of anti-bribery regulations
Mhm.
actually helped their
Mhm.
company secure a
Mhm.
major international contract.
Wow. Okay.
So they were able to identify a potential risk
Oh.
and guide the deal
Mhm.
in a way that was both
Okay.
compliant
Yeah.
and beneficial for the business.
So it's about being the person with the answers,
Yeah.
but not in a robotic rule book kind of
Yeah,
way.
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to just be
That's-
throwing the rule book at people.
It's about knowing your stuff so well
Mm-hmm.
that you can actually apply it
Right.
strategically
You're applying it strategically.
to achieve business objectives,
Yeah,
not just
exactly.
to be a blocker.
Right.
Right.
You're helping them get where they need to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's credibility.
That's credibility.
Let's talk about reliability.
Say reliability.
So you've established yourself as someone
Right.
who knows their stuff.
You know the rules. You know what you're talking about.
Right.
But
What's next?
what's next? What's the next piece of that puzzle?
What makes people actually want to keep coming back to you?
Right. You have to prove
Right.
that you're someone they can count on.
Okay.
It's about
Yeah.
consistency
Okay.
and follow through. It means
Mhm.
meeting your deadlines,
Okay.
being prepared for meetings and delivering on your promises.
So it's about?
Think of it this way.
Yeah.
If you tell someone, you'll get back to them with an answer. By a certain time, do it.
Do it.
Even if it's just to say you need more time.
Yeah, just acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Right.
That seemingly small act builds a ton of credibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Reliability is about building that reputation of being dependable and trustworthy. Okay.
And so
we've got credibility.
We've got reliability.
Reliability. What about empathy?
Empathy.
That one seems a little unexpected.
I know, right?
In the context of compliance. Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't think that those two would go together, but it's so crucial.
Okay.
Empathy and compliance means understanding the pressures and challenges that other departments face.
Okay.
So it's about recognizing.
It's about stepping out of our compliance bubble and seeing things from their perspective.
Right. They're not trying to break the rules.
Right.
They're trying
to do their job.
Achieve their business goals.
Right. The playbook gives a great example of this.
Okay.
A compliance officer who worked really closely with the marketing team on a new product launch.
Okay.
And instead of just saying no to certain marketing strategies because of regulatory concerns, they took the time to understand the campaign objectives and they helped the team find creative solutions that were both compliant and effective.
Wow, that's awesome.
So empathy is about finding that sweet spot where compliance and business objectives actually align.
They come together.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about being a problem solver, not a roadblock.
Not just saying no all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So that's empathy.
That's empathy.
And then finally,
last but not least,
the cornerstone of integrity.
Integrity.
And I have a feeling this one is...
Yeah, this one is...
non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. This is... Yeah, integrity is the foundation of everything. Right.
It's the foundation of trust.
It's about doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
Even when it's difficult.
Yeah, even when it's hard.
Even when it's unpopular.
Even when it's unpopular.
And sometimes.
And that sometimes means having the courage to say no to leadership.
Yeah.
To push back on things.
Okay. And that can be really intimidating.
It can be very intimidating.
Especially early in your career.
Especially when you're new, you're trying to
prove yourself.
You're trying to make a good impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's essential.
Yeah.
The playbook shares a story.
Okay.
About a compliance officer who discovered a potential accounting irregularity that was being pushed by a senior executive.
Oh, wow.
And they knew speaking up could have serious consequences.
Right.
But they did it anyway.
Well, because it was the right thing to do.
That takes guts.
Yeah, that takes real courage.
Yeah.
But it also shows the importance of having that strong foundation of credibility, reliability, and empathy.
Because when you've consistently demonstrated those qualities, people are more likely.
People are going to listen to you.
To take you seriously.
Yeah, they're going to take your concerns seriously.
Right. So we've covered the 4 cornerstones.
4 cornerstones?
Of trust.
Of trust.
But how do we actually...
But how do we...
put these into practice?
Let's put these into practice.
How do we go from being someone who knows the rules?
Yeah, just knowing the rules isn't enough.
Right.
Yeah.
To someone who can actually influence...
Right. You want to be able to...
decision-making.
Influence decision-making.
At a strategic level.
Yeah, at a strategic level.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
So
where we want to be.
How do we do that?
So how do we do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
And the playbook outlines some really practical strategies for building influence.
Okay.
That's what we're going to explore next.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got these 4 cornerstones of trust, right?
Yeah.
Credibility, reliability, empathy, and integrity. And we've heard some pretty compelling examples, I think, of how they actually play out.
Yeah, I thought those were great.
In the real world. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, let's talk about
how we actually...
how to.
Yeah. How do we start to build influence
as
trusted advisors?
Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
Where do we start?
Yeah.
Well, the playbook really stresses that one of the most fundamental steps is understanding the business itself.
That makes sense.
It might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked by compliance professionals.
Yeah, it's funny because when I think of compliance, I think of, regulations, laws, policies.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the ins and outs of how a business operates.
The day-to-day of the business. Yeah.
So,
but those two worlds are more connected than you might think.
Right.
To be truly effective in compliance, you need to understand a company's products and services, its revenue streams, its target market, and most importantly, its strategic goals.
So we need to understand.
Yeah. Think of it like this. You can't effectively advise someone on a journey if you don't know where they're trying to go.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
We need to step out of the compliance silo.
Step out of the silo.
But really get a better understanding.
Understand the big picture.
The big picture. How our work fits in.
Your work fits into the overall success of the organization.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So how do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, the best way is to simply talk to people. Attend cross-departmental meetings. Shadow colleagues in different roles, and just have conversations.
Just be more engaged.
Yeah, be more engaged.
With other departments.
Yeah. Have conversations about the challenges they face from their perspective.
Interesting.
Imagine you're a compliance officer at a tech company, and you're working on a data privacy initiative. Wouldn't it be helpful to understand how the engineering team collects and stores data? Or how the marketing team uses customer information?
For sure.
Right. All of those things.
That would be super valuable.
Would be valuable in crafting a compliance strategy that actually works for everyone.
Right. It's all about connecting the dots.
Yeah, it's connecting the dots. And once you have a good understanding of the business, the next step
all right, what's next?
Is to start speaking the language of leadership.
Okay, now that sounds a little daunting. It can be a little intimidating.
What does that actually mean?
So what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
Leadership thinks in terms of strategy, results, risk management, and return on investment.
So big picture stuff.
Yeah, big picture.
Yeah.
So when you're communicating about compliance issues, you have to frame them in a way that aligns
with those priorities.
Speaking their language.
Yeah, speaking their language.
Yeah, so instead of just saying, this is against the rules.
Yeah, this is against the rules.
We need to be able to articulate how
how does this
a particular risk
impact the business?
Could impact the bottom line.
Yeah, the bottom line.
Damage the company's reputation.
Damage the reputation.
Or even derail a strategic initiative.
Derail a major project.
Right. Yeah. It's about translating compliance risks into business impact.
Business impact.
And the playbook also suggests that whenever possible, you should use data to support your assessments.
Interesting.
Quantify the potential costs of non-compliance or the benefits of implementing a particular control. Instead of just saying a data breach could be bad, demonstrate
how much a similar breach cost a competitor.
So use real-world examples.
Real-world data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Data speaks volume.
Data speaks volume.
Doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It takes the emotion out of the equation.
Yeah, it adds that layer of objectivity.
What an objectivity.
It shows that you've done your homework.
That you've done your research.
Yeah, and that your
recommendations are based on
are based on
analysis.
Analysis, not just gut feeling.
Just your opinion.
Yeah, not just your opinion.
Right. Okay.
So
the playbook also emphasizes.
We've talked about data.
The importance of emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
How does EQ factor into becoming a trusted advisor?
How does that fit in?
Yeah. Well, emotional intelligence is all about being aware of your own emotions. And the emotions of others. And using that awareness to navigate interactions effectively.
So it's about
reading the room. understanding the nuances of communication and adapting your approach accordingly.
So being flexible.
Being flexible, being adaptable. It's also about active listening.
Active listening, truly hearing. Yeah. Truly hearing.
What people are saying.
What people are saying.
And asking clarifying questions.
Asking clarifying questions.
To make sure.
To make sure you understand.
But understand. You know, active listening is such a powerful skill.
Yeah, it's so important.
It shows interaction.
It shows respect. And a genuine desire.
Especially when we're talking about trying to build trust.
To understand
it shows
where someone's coming from.
You genuinely care. Yeah, you're not just there to...
about what they have to say.
Lecture them.
Right.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, by really listening, you'll uncover concerns or perspectives.
Yeah. Things you didn't even...
that you hadn't even thought of.
Think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to...
we've talked about.
Understanding the business.
Understanding the business.
Communicating effectively.
Communicating effectively.
What are some other practical things?
What are some other things
that we can do to build influence?
Yeah, to really build that influence.
As trusted advisor.
As trusted advisor.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most impactful strategies is to focus on delivering pragmatic solutions.
So it's not just about pointing out the problems.
It's not just about...
it's about coming to the table with...
coming with solutions.
Solutions.
Yeah.
Right?
When you identify
a compliance risk
or a potential issue, don't just flag it and walk away.
Don't just be like, nope, can't do that.
Yeah. Not my problem. Instead, think through the potential solutions. Be proactive in offering suggestions for how to mitigate the risk and do it in a way that minimizes disruption into business operations.
So we're not trying to
derail everything.
A roadblock.
We're trying to...
you want to be helpful.
Yeah.
You want to be a partner.
Yeah. Okay. Give me an example of that.
Let's say you discover that a particular vendor isn't meeting certain data security requirements. Instead of just recommending that the company sever ties with the vendor. Which could be very disruptive.
Could be very disruptive.
You could suggest ways to help the vendor.
Improve their security practices.
Okay, so work with them.
Work with them or explore alternative solutions that meet the necessary standards.
It's about being solution-oriented.
Solution-oriented.
And demonstrating that you're not just there to...
you're not just there to say no. You're there to...
enforce rules, but you're there to...
help the business succeed.
Help them succeed. Okay. And finally, never underestimate the power of being visible and approachable.
Okay, so how do we do that?
How do you do that?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as setting up regular office hours where people can just drop by and ask questions, or holding informal lunch. And learn to share your knowledge and expertise. The key is to create a culture
where people feel comfortable approaching you.
It can't
with their concerns.
like a scary thing.
And it's about being proactive. Don't just wait for people to come to you. Go out and meet them.
Go to them.
Where they are.
Be present.
The more you engage with people across the organization, the more you break down those walls, the more likely they are to see you.
To see you as a resource.
As a valuable resource.
As a partner.
As a true partner.
Not the enemy.
Not the enemy.
This is all fantastic advice. I have to imagine there's some challenges along the way.
There are going to be challenges.
Not everyone is going to embrace the compliance function
of compliance
with open arms. So what are some of those challenges?
What are some of the
we should be prepared
challenges that we need to think about?
So we've talked about all this great stuff, right? Building trust, gaining influence. But let's be real. There are going to be roadblocks along the way.
Bumps in the road. Not everyone.
Not everyone is going to be thrilled.
Is going to welcome you.
About compliance.
With open arms.
And having a seat at the table. So what are some of
those challenges
we should be prepared for?
Or you should be thinking about? Well, one of the most common challenges is simply overcoming resistance. You'll encounter people who see compliance as an obstacle. A source of unnecessary red tape.
So how do we change that perception?
How do we change that? I think it takes time and consistent effort.
Yeah. Okay.
The playbook emphasizes
okay.
that you have to prove your value.
Prove your value.
You have to demonstrate that you're not just a rule enforcer,
right.
but a true partner who's invested in their success.
Okay.
One tactic it suggests is finding a low-stakes project to collaborate on something where you can showcase your expertise and show how compliance can actually help them achieve their goals.
Okay, so like a pilot program almost.
Yeah, like a pilot program.
To build trust.
Yeah, start small.
Yeah.
Prove your value. And then gradually...
And then expand your influence.
Expand your influence from there.
And there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Another challenge you'll likely face is finding that balance between objectivity and advocacy.
Okay, help me understand that one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
As a compliance officer, you have to walk a fine line.
Okay.
On the one hand, you're an advocate for the business.
You want to see them succeed.
You want to see them succeed.
Yeah.
But
you also have to...
You're also responsible for upholding ethical standards.
And the rules.
And regulatory requirements, which means sometimes you have to say no or push back on decisions that could pose a risk.
Right. That could get them in trouble.
That could get them in trouble.
Yeah.
The playbook offers some really practical advice for navigating this tension.
Okay.
Like setting clear expectations up front, having open communication, and documenting your recommendations thoroughly.
So it's about being really transparent.
Yeah, be transparent.
About your role.
About what you're there to do.
Yeah, explaining that.
Yeah, explain.
Well, you're there to support them.
You're there to support them.
But you also have to...
You're also there to...
protect the organization.
Protect the organization.
From undue risk.
Yeah.
Right?
It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where you can be both a trusted advisor and a guardian of integrity.
Okay.
Now,
I have to imagine that
I think
one of the most daunting challenges...
It's one of the most challenging things.
...is dealing with pressure.
Yeah.
From leadership.
Dealing with leadership.
Especially when they're pushing for something.
They're putting pressure on you.
That might be borderline or even outright.
That might be.
Against the rules. Against the rules or borderline unethical. That's tough.
That's a tough spot to be in.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You will face this situation at some point.
Yeah.
The key is to stay calm.
Stay calm.
Professional.
Okay.
And stick to the facts. Stick to the facts.
Don't let emotions get the better of you.
Yeah, don't let it become personal.
Don't make it personal.
Right.
The playbook actually recommends having a pre-scripted response ready.
Oh, that's interesting.
For those high-pressure situations. Something along the lines of, I understand the business objective, but I have serious concerns about the compliance implications of this approach. Here's what the regulations state. And here's the potential risk to the organization.
I like that.
Yeah.
Having that prepared response.
Stay calm.
Yeah, it helps you stay calm.
Under pressure.
But it also
reinforces
that your concerns are based on...
You're not facts.
You're not just being difficult.
Right.
You're basing this on...
I'm not just facts.
And a commitment to...
Throwing out your opinion.
Doing what's right.
Yeah.
And remember...
You're not alone.
Right.
The compliance community is incredibly supportive.
Right. There are resources out there.
There are resources available to help you.
To help you through those tough situations.
To navigate these tough situations.
Yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
To your network.
To your network. Or other experts. Seek guidance from other experts.
Yeah. So we've talked about the challenges.
So we've talked about the bumps in the road.
Yeah, let's end on a positive note.
Let's end on a positive note.
What are some
concrete steps?
Concrete steps.
Our listeners can do.
Our listeners can take today.
To start
building trust.
Building that trust.
And influence.
Yeah. Well, the playbook
recommends
a few specific actions.
Okay.
But one of the most valuable is conducting a stakeholder mapping exercise. Stakeholder mapping.
Stakeholder mapping.
What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
It's a simple but powerful tool for identifying the key individuals within your organization who have a stake in compliance. This helps you understand their roles, their priorities, their level of influence, and any potential biases
Interesting.
They might have.
Okay.
So it's about
knowing your audience.
Knowing your audience.
And then tailoring.
Yeah, and tailor
your message to that audience.
Your approach accordingly.
Okay.
The playbook actually includes a template for stakeholder mapping.
Okay.
Which is really helpful.
Great. So we can actually start building
you can start
those relationships.
Strategically.
Strategic.
Focusing on the people.
And focus on the people.
Are most likely to...
Who are most receptive.
Be receptive to our message.
Yeah.
Right.
And who have the power to champion compliance influence.
Within their departments.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback.
And ask for feedback.
Right.
Regularly check in with your stakeholders.
Okay.
Ask for their honest assessment
of
how the compliance function is perceived.
What are we doing well?
What are you doing well?
What can we improve on?
What could you improve?
Yeah.
That takes courage.
It does, but it shows humility.
It shows humility.
And a willingness to learn.
Which
are essential qualities.
Which are so important.
For any trusted advisor. Right. The playbook encourages.
The playbook also encourages you to keep a trusted advisor checklist.
Okay.
To help you stay on track.
Okay.
It's basically a list of questions.
To reflect on after key interactions.
Right.
Did I demonstrate credibility?
Right.
Did I communicate clearly and empathetically?
Oh.
Did I follow through on my commitments?
It's like a self-assessment tool.
Yeah, it's like a self-assessment.
To make sure we're actually walking the walk.
To make sure you're walking the walk.
Not just talking the talk.
Not just talking the talk.
Yeah.
And remember, building trust and influence takes time.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Not a destination.
Not a destination.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Yeah, this has been great.
I've learned a lot.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much for...
Thanks for having me.
Sharing your expertise with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more... about becoming a trusted advisor...
Definitely.
Check out the new Compliance Officer Playbook.
The new Compliance Officer Playbook.
We will include a link in the show notes.
It's a great resource.
And remember... Even small steps can make a big difference. So start by identifying.
Yeah. Find one thing.
One action you can take today.
You can do today.
To build trust and influence.
To start building that trust.
Within your organization.
Yeah.
Until next time. Keep learning. Keep growing.
Keep learning. Keep growing.
And keep striving to make compliance a force for positive change.
Absolutely.